Hello and welcome to the channel, it's Erad, and so today in this video I wanted to talk about the recent announcement of Starfield's release date, which is now scheduled for September 6th of this year, which is actually going to be throughout the second semester of 2023, unlike what was previously promised. So it seems like the game got indeed delayed a little further, but nothing too serious. It's not like it was delayed to 2024 after all. We also got a date for the upcoming Starfield showcase, which is said to be at least half an hour long and will deep dive into what Starfield is all about, as well as possibly some insight on the game's development, and this event will take place on June 11th. But of course, the most interesting part of this release date announcement video was the footage that was shown during the video, and so we are going to take a look at it and try to analyze what was shown. And we start with these shots from the very beginning of the video, and it looks like we are getting to see what seems like a capital ship. And if that is true, if that is the case, it will be the very first time that we get to see a capital ship in Starfield. I mean, sure, we've seen freighters and fighters in previous footage, but it makes sense that capital ships are also a part of the game. After all, the two main factions were at war not too long ago, and there seems to also be a strong pirate faction in the shape of the Crimson Fleet, and one might imagine that they would also have capital ships of their own, so it makes sense to see those in the game. The next shot is very brief, but we get to see an asteroid field and two stellar bodies that look to be a planet and a moon. Now, we also know from the gameplay trailer that we saw from last year that gas giants and their rings will also be a part of the Starfield universe, so it is possible that we are looking at a shot from within one of those rings of such a gas giant. Next will be a familiar sight because we've seen this station before in the very first Starfield teaser back on June 11th, 2018. Oh, and have a look at that, what a coincidence, on the same date we'll have the Starfield Direct this year. So in the new footage we learn from the sound of the video that it belongs to the Constellation here, which is the Explorers faction that will get to join in the campaign, and that is a star station that is called LO868. The station is orbiting an Earth-like planet, which looks to be Jemison, the planet that we saw in the gameplay trailer last year, where the city of New Atlantis is located. New Atlantis, by the way, is also Constellation's headquarters, where Constellation's headquarters are located, so it makes sense if this organization possesses a station orbiting the planet. Next, we have a look at a docking procedure. Now, this is just CGI, or is perhaps what the players will be able to see. Well, we actually don't know, so that remains to be seen, but it does look very cool, though. Then we get to see what's inside the station, and it doesn't look that big. It seems like it's going to be some kind of research station or perhaps an observation post, because from what we hear, it has a device called the Eye that is observing anomalies across the universe. After that, we get a shot at what was presented to us as the artifact in the gameplay reveal. Now, I personally have a theory of my own about what it could be. I believe it could be what was described hundreds, if not thousands of years ago as a biblical representation of angels, and from what we can see in the latest footage, it really does look like it has some abilities that are beyond our human understanding, and I can't wait to uncover those secrets once the game ships. Now, we don't know if this artifact will be unique or if there will be several of them. Will they be fixed, or would they be able to benefit from some kind of mobility? The footage does seem to suggest that the one that we see there is located within that ancient-looking structure on this frozen moon. Perhaps it is a remains of a long-gone civilization, or perhaps it is the materialization of something humanity has been suspecting for thousands of years. The next images are definitely CGI and show a character being sucked within the artifact, but I think that this could be a symbolic representation of us, the players, getting sucked into the game. After the reveal of the release date, we'll get to see small bits of footage from the background. First, we see some developers playing in an environment that looks like Mars. We know that Mars was not terraformed in the Starfield universe, and that it will play a role in the game, even featuring at least one city called Cydonia, so that could be what we are looking at here. In the footage, the character is running around a few structures and then pulls a gun, showing us for the first time since the gameplay revealed the first-person combat gameplay of Starfield. Next, we get a chance at a glance at another world. This time, there is some kind of bushy type of vegetation with some modern-looking wind turbines, indicating that there is some human activity in the vicinity. We can see the type of weapon the player is equipped, as well as the ammunition that they have, and we can also tell that they are equipped with some grenades. Next, we can look at another planet with another type of weapon, and this time, this world seems more barren and desert-like, although there does appear to be some vegetation, but it is more sparse. The footage then returns to the Mars-like environment, where we got to see some typical FPS combat type of gameplay with the ability to aim that's quite typical of the genre, but with elements of role-playing game, such as some information that the game gives you about your enemies and your stats as you are fighting. Next, we have a shot at a more lush planet with some kind of dinosaur and a more menacing vegetation. We know that Starfield's star systems will be classified by levels, which is probably going to be matching your player levels. So if you go to planets above your level, the level of difficulty might be too high, while if you go to planets beneath your level, there won't be any challenge at all. So I don't think that we'll get to see this planet early in the game. After that, we get to see the inventory system, where the player here is selecting different helmets, and I love here the diversity of helmets, which really seems to differ based on the roles that you intend to take. A pilot is not going to take the same helmet as a ground trooper, for example. And the last footage that we see here seems to be in some kind of installation that could be infested by some Zerg-looking creatures. Very menacing indeed, and that's also a testimony to the diversity of the bestiary that Bethesda has created for the game in order to avoid a certain repetitiveness as we are progressing throughout the story. So, there we have it, guys. These were the tidbits of information that we could grab from the release date trailer, but let me know in the comment section down below, how excited are you for Starfield? Are you going to take some days off to play the game? What would you like to do the most in the game? For me, that would be messing with the different factions while creating my own faction, as I would be building various outposts across the universe. Anyway, this game looks like it has so much to offer. It's easy to imagine that one single game could take hundreds of hours to complete if you are really into the story and the universe. And that is it for this video. If you think I did a good job covering the subject, please let me know with a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more gaming or Starfield content, feel free to smash that subscribe button, because it is definitely not going to be the last video I'll make about Bethesda's upcoming space RPG. I've been Irad. Shout out to Dr. Fobin, Zero Crusher, Wolfpipe Bug, and Deplorable Infidel, and I will see you guys later.